The Leftovers began its third and final season, and I'm here to talk about the first episode. And this is going to be a weekly thing for the rest of the series. There'll be 7 more of these since there are 7 episodes. So take this journey with me as we finish up the last season of HBO's acclaimed series, The Leftovers. The Leftovers for me is a show that started out, and I thought it was decent. There was a lot of stuff I liked, but there was also a lot of stuff I didn't like. I remember the 3rd episode of the first season being particularly incredible, and it's just a show that went from good to exceptional. Episode 8 of season 2 is one of the best hours of television ever. As for this series premiere, I thought it was great. I was surprised by that they're still in Texas, or that they're still in Texas by the end of the episode. I would have expected them to have left. It's not a bad thing because I like what they're doing here with basically reverting the show back to how it was in Mapleton. With Kevin is the chief of the police. Very interestingly, however, the show started just like seasons 2 premiere started with a prologue. This time set around a 19th century Christian section called the Millerites. I thought it was a really cool way to start the show off because it throws you off and just how it tied into the guilty Redmond. I mean, I could see the argument that that's a little too on the nose, but I think for a show like The Leftovers, it works. My only problem with that prologue is I think it kind of went on a little too long, yeah, it just seemed like I got what it was trying to say. It just seemed like they could have cut it down a little bit, but at the same time, it didn't really take away much from. Other aspects of this episode that surprised me were the return of Dean. I didn't expect that, and just how quickly he was killed off by Kevin's son, Tom, because I expected him to be a bigger player because he was sort of like turning into what Kevin could have turned to if he hadn't fixed himself. So I thought that was really interesting as well. And another big aspect about this episode is the Book of Kevin. That was also the episode title. The Book of Kevin being written by Matt and Michael. Again, this is something that could be too on the nose. But I think with a show, like I was saying earlier, I think with a show like The Leftovers, it works. And it's good to acknowledge this type of stuff because why wouldn't they acknowledge this type of stuff? And it's just basically speaking for the audience, saying like, oh, Kevin's Jesus. So it's cool for them to outright acknowledge that because it works really well in this type of setting. Lastly, I want to touch upon the ending, which is interesting because I thought that was going to be Australia at first, and that was going to be Kevin Sr., but no, it was Nora. So I'm obviously really curious to see where they'll go with that, and I thought this was a great premiere, as to be expected with The Leftovers. This is really a show that just keeps learning from its mistakes and getting better and better. I'm not sure early reviews have said it does, that Season 3 is better than Season 2, so I'm hoping that is the case, but I'm really curious to see if that is true, and I really can't wait to see how Damien Lindelof and Tom Perrotta wrap up this series, because I've always thought this was really cool that Tom Perrotta's Leftovers book wraps up where the first season wraps up, and then they just continued the story for 2 more seasons. I think that's really unique. That's all I have to say on the Leftovers premiere. It was a great one. Can't wait to see how the show continues. Also, the pacing in the Leftovers premiere. I was never like, oh, I just want this episode to wrap up so I can watch the girls finale. Check out my review of the girls series finale as well. Many tears were shed. Let me know what you thought of the Leftovers premiere in the comments below. Do you think they're being too on the nose with some of the subject matter on the show? Where do you want to see it go? I mean, they're going to Australia, obviously, but where do you want to see, story-wise, the finale headed? Are you somebody that wants a lot of to your questions, or are you cool with this being a type of show that definitely won't answer all your questions? I think for a show like this, it's fine. The Leftovers has definitely shown that they can deliver satisfying conclusions and story arcs without that. Thanks for listening. Bye.